Hi, welcome to the Wisdom Inspired Talk podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I am Yomi Akipelu, your wisdom coach, speaker, teacher, and author of Blow the Cap Off Your Capability and other books. In this podcast, we will learn from the wisdom of wise men and women from ancient and contemporary times. We will glean wisdom from books, biographies, teachings, quotes, and sayings of sages through the ages. So, let's dive right in. Today, we'll be speaking about books and reading. Part 1. Let's start with a story and a quote. Some 16 years ago, when my son was about 4 years old, he came up to me and said, "Mom, what are you going to get me for my birthday?" He said, smiling from ear to ear like a Cheshire cat. "What would you like?" I asked him. "I want wings," he said. I was both puzzled and amused at this rather unusual request, and I thought my son's active imagination was being roused by some Wayne cartoon character he had been watching on TV. "Why do you want wings?" I asked. "So I can fly," was his reply. I thought for a moment, and then in a flash of inspiration said to him, "If you want to fly, you need to learn to read. Reading gives you wings. You can go anywhere you want to go and be anything you want to be if you learn to read." Of course, I had to explain what I meant to him afterwards. And for the rest of this podcast, I'll be expanding on this. Thinking back on this conversation, I realized the aptness of my response. Reading does give you wings and lifts you to a position of advantage. Some 2 years later, when my son was about 6 years old, he said to me, "Mom, I would like to go to Narnia." That is the magical land of the Lion, and the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. I smiled at him and said, "You know what to do if you want to go to Narnia." "What?" he asked. "Go read the book and you'll find yourself in Narnia," I said to him. He smiled knowingly and said to me, shaking his head, "You are just one imaginative mom." Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, said he had read over 3,000 books. By reading a small daily dose every day, he is in the Guinness Book of Records for the most #1 books on the bestsellers list at the same time. The daily habit of reading transformed the life of Teresa Velfoy from having no goals, no vision, no money. Less than 10 years later, she is an author of many books. She's got international speaking engagements, a YouTube channel with millions of viewers, money in the bank, a lovely home, and much more. And she is not alone. Many thousands have had their lives transformed by the simple habit of reading great books. Someone said, "You are the same today as you'll be in 5 years, except for 2 things: the books you read and the people you meet." John Rohn said, "If you say you want to be a great leader, the first thing we must do is check your library." Why? Because what you read pours massive ingredients into your mental factory, and the fabric of your life is built on those ingredients. It doesn't matter how huge your door is. If you have the right key, the door will open. The habit of reading is the key that will open many doors. Books are idea containers. Books are liberators. Countries ruled by oppressors try to prevent people from reading or monitor what people can read. You maintain oppression by maintaining ignorance, because knowledge is light. Therefore, if you want to keep people in darkness, you keep knowledge away from them. You keep books away from them. In other words, you keep them ignorant. The saying, If you want to keep something away from a fool, hide it in a book comes to mind. A wise man said, "The books you don't read won't help." Research has shown that mental activity boosts resistance to dementia. Study after study has found that older people who were mentally engaged doing things like reading and writing or taking part in hobbies or games stayed mentally sharper and were less at risk of Alzheimer's than those who were not. While keeping your mind active generally seems to go together with greater mental sharpness, this does not apply to watching television. Watching television over long periods tends to sap mental energies. Studies show that watching television reduces arousal in the brain, while reading boosts arousal, and this arousal of the brain protects it. Other brain arousing and protecting activities include mentally demanding jobs, education, and maintaining a good social network. Many hundreds of studies have shown that mice and rats, which are kept in cages with a variety of objects to explore, show much better memory and cognitive abilities than those kept in standard, relatively austere environment. What's more, they grow extra brain cells. So when we are faced with challenge, including mental challenges, our brains release a chemical called noradrenaline to help sharpen our perception and decision-making process. This brain-enhancing chemical also combats diseases, and it's released in tiny doses hundreds of millions of times over a lifetime. This chemical, or wonder drug, is produced naturally in our brain as a result of environmental factors like mental stimulation or challenges, or a novel situation, social interactions, and memories retrieved, such as studying for exams or reading. So brain connections are strengthened and brain networks grow as a result of the beneficial effects of millions of mini infusions of noradrenaline triggered by mental stimulation or challenge. If mental challenge builds brains through noradrenaline release, then anything that diminishes that challenge, e.g. television, could do the opposite. Reading is life transforming and can help us achieve our full potential. Someone said victims have big television sets, while leaders have big libraries. Reading can transform your life because the more you read, the more you know. The more you read, the more you can imagine. The more you read, the better you understand other people. And this can help enhance your relationships and consequently improve your life. When the message of a book is rightly phrased, it could pass your defenses, enter your heart, and explode silently and effectively within your mind and change you from inside out. The Bible is generally accepted by Christians as God's word to humankind. That being the case, one could say God chose to communicate his thoughts to humanity through a book, and millions are known to have been greatly inspired and transformed by it. There are a few simple habits in life that you can cultivate that really have the potential to change your life. Reading good books is one of such habits. Reading has such a capacity to transform a life. It has the ability to unlock a wealth of treasure and greatness from within an individual. Through reading, you can rub minds with the greatest thinkers of all time. You can share in the wisdom of the greatest minds that ever walked the surface of the earth simply by reading their books. Through reading, you access the wisdom and the knowledge and the wealth of the author's mind. You also become a partaker of the rapturous moments of inspiration enjoyed by the writer. You can even experience and enjoy divine moments of insight akin to a spiritual experience simply by reading a book. David Oyedepo Jr. once commented that the value of books is that you benefit from the experiences of others and gain access to their insight without having to go through the process they pass through. Others have made the discoveries and you can benefit from it just by reading their books. What has taken others years to discover can become yours in a few hours of reading. These individuals could be your contemporaries or those who have gone before you, including individuals from a previous generation. I really think books are magical. People can find a new world through the power of the written word. Books have a certain kind of enchantment about them. They are able to catapult you to a different world in a twinkling of an eye. Between the covers of a book exists a sort of paradise. All you have to do is add a little ingredient called imagination, and you can feel the magic everywhere. You don't have to be a child to enjoy the thrill of reading. You need only the imagination and enthusiasm of youth, and you are halfway there. And before we come to the close of today's podcast, let me share some of my favorite book quotes. I really hope they will encourage you and stir you up to reading more. So here goes. Books are the perfect entertainment. No commercials, no batteries, hours of enjoyment for each dollar spent. What I wonder is why everybody doesn't carry a book around for those inevitable dead spots in life, says Stephen King. When I read great literature, great drama, speeches, or sermons, I feel that the human mind has not achieved anything greater than the ability to share feelings and thoughts through language, says James Earl Jones. No entertainment is so cheap as reading, nor any pleasure so lasting, says Mary Worthy Montagu. And Mark Twain said, "The man who does not read books has no advantage over the man who cannot read them." And that is all for today. Until next time, keep on growing in wisdom and maturity. Blow the cap of your capability. Be unstoppable. Be awesome. I'm cheering you on.